Welcome, everyone. We are live. And it is Wednesday. We're talking about exams today. Forgive me if I yawn. Exams have a purpose.
Oh, you're on mute, Angela, over here, if you didn't know.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Oracle Treehouse, for telling
You're
me.
welcome. Bill, you're welcome. I figured 'cause you said you was going live, and I'm like, wait a minute, where the mute button go? Wait a minute.
See, that's it, right? Sometimes I mute on YouTube, but on YouTube we're open today. Um, but exams have a purpose, okay? They have a purpose. If you pay attention to an exam, like, the best place we can talk about exams is school. I know that when I was growing up in Barbados for school, we learned things over a 9 or 10 month period. And then when I moved to Canada, we learned things in a 3 month period. I was like, wait, this is weird. Because over a period of 10 months, you have time to learn and to comprehend. Okay? Over a 3 month period, you're cramming, is what I noticed. So the purpose of the exam is for you to see what you know, for you to see what you comprehend. And this is why I don't, what's the word I want to say? I don't test my son because we homeschool. I don't test him. I don't give him a time frame and here's what you're going to do. You're going to answer all these questions. No. How I test him is simple. What do you know? Teach me. Like the other day, he said a word. He was online and he said a word. I knew what the word meant. And I said, oh, what does that word mean? I don't think I've ever heard that before. And he begins to explain to me what the word means because he understands. This is the point. So when you have an exam, there's a point to this, by the way. When you have an exam, the exam should be to draw out of you what you comprehend, what you know. Here's the reason for this morning. We go through life and we learn things. We learn things, whether that be scripture or whatever life lesson it is. We learn things. Don't you want to know what you know? Don't you want to know that you comprehend what you know? Well, the way to do that is to test yourself. How does one test themselves? To see if you can recreate the outcome that you've just learned. It's as simple as that. So what is it that you've just learned? Well, test yourself. You ask. Okay, so what does this mean? And you begin to look at things to see how you would apply it. That's the test right there. How can I apply this? Because when you learn something, it's not, you see, we don't learn just for the sake of learning, We learn so we can do, right? You learn so you can do. So to test or examine yourself, you see if you can apply what you've learned. That's what you're doing. So you see, every day we learn the principles, we learn the laws. Why? So that as you are out and about in the world, you'll be able to recognize which law is at work. Mind you, they all are, but you know what I mean. You look at something, you go, oh snap, that's correspondence. Oh my God, that is rhythm. Oh my God, that is so gender, right? This is what we do. We learn the principles. The best way to do it is to memorize them first. Because when you memorize them, now they're committed to memory. Now you can walk through the day and not have to wait. What is that one again? What is that one again? No, no, no. Just mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Okay? Just memorize them. Rote memory. Just commit them to memory. Because as you commit them to memory, as you go through the day, you're going to come upon a situation, whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. You're going to come upon one. And as I've said many times, one of those laws or principles will stand out to you most because of your personality. One of them will stand out to you most. If you say we are always in a state of generation, coming up with ideas and then embodying them, gender, masculine, feminine. If that jumps out at you more as you go through the day, you say, wait, how can I apply gender to my life? And you say, well, I have an idea. Nobody sees my idea yet. Nobody sees it. It hasn't been embodied yet. So it's invisible. It is masculine. I have to project it. I have to mentally project it so that it will take form, so that the world will see it. Because I'm always in a state of generation. So what ideas am I generating today? See, and now once you do that and you start asking yourself what ideas you're generating today, you have just tested yourself. Well, of course you have. Because you had to see what you were doing and then you had to apply what you saw. You said, oh yeah, that's exactly what generation is. I get it. But what if mentalism jumped out at you first? Oh. And you would say, wait, mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. How can I apply that? Mentalism is clearly telling you the all is mind. It says to you what the all is. It has defined what it is. You get to do the same thing. You define who you say you are. When you define who you say you are, then that is what you embody. But it always starts with the awareness of one's self, the mind, or awareness, not brain. Brain is physical. Mind is non-physical. So if mentalism jumps out at you, well, who do you say you are? Who do you say that you are? What have you identified yourself to be? Right? This is what happens. And this is how you examine yourself to see what you've known, what you've learned, what you've understood. And this is why I get my son to teach me something. He says to me, Ma, he says, Ma, you think you're so slick, hey? Because when I say, well, I don't know what that means, he will look at me over the top of his glasses and he'll say, you don't, do you? I'm like, no. He's like, "Ugh, of course you do. I'm like, no, I don't. That's what I say. And then he will teach me. And that's how I know that he comprehends. So you see, you test yourself. Now, if you're walking there and you say that vibration jumps out at you, no, you like it Marky Mark style. Just a good vibration. You like it like that. And so you say vibration is my thing. Well, what is vibration? Well, everything moves. Nothing stands still. Even if the wind is not moving outside that you can see so vividly, if you stop moving and pay attention, just stand, you're still moving. Even though you're standing still, you're moving. Your heart is beating. You're inhaling and you're exhaling, right? You blink. The leaves are ever so slightly moving. And if you spent any winters here, when you drive by the river, there's steam coming off the river. It is so cold. The water boils, like for real. It's so cold. And those water molecules, they're slowing down, but it's still moving. Everything moves. Nothing stands still. So to apply that to your life, what am I doing? Where am I going today? What am I going to share today? Constant movement. Because without the movement, we don't grow. And we must grow. That is the inevitable outcome of movement, right? And so when you apply that to your life, movement, vibration, you realize that you are constantly learning, constantly becoming, because nothing can stand still, right? And if you say, well, rhythm is more my thing, Angela. Well, what's that look like? Well, a rhythm is a pattern. It ebbs and it flows, right? So you say to yourself, well, how do I apply rhythm in my life? Where is rhythm in my life? Well, I have a habit. I have many habits. That's a rhythm, that's a pattern. And you say to yourself, well, this person really bothered me today. They really pissed me off today. And I yelled at them. Rhythm compensates. I yelled at them with the same intensity that I felt that I was pissed off at. Rhythm compensates. However far you go to the left is how far you must come back to the right. So when you begin to test yourself to see how you can apply the principles, that's what you're doing. What am I capable of? You see, it gives us the opportunity to think and to reason and to examine the effects that we want to experience. You see, when we stop and we examine the experience, the effect that we want to have, it'll stop you from doing, most of the time, it'll stop you from doing foolish things. Well, why most of the time? Because it depends on you and the level of intensity that you feel about this thing. Cause and effect. If you say, not today, devil, that means you sat and you thought about the effects that would happen if you acted in a particular way. You said, listen, as my grandmother would say, if I put my hands on you, the police will come. That's what she used to tell me when I was a little girl. If I put my hands on you today, the police can come. Well, clearly. So she didn't put her hands on me because she didn't want that. When somebody says, you don't want this smoke, right? I think that's what the young people say. You don't want this smoke. They're telling you, if you do that thing, this is going to happen. So that gives you the opportunity to apply cause and effect. Ah, if you are in marketing 101, and you got a product to sell, You stop and you ask yourself, what's the outcome here with this product? I want people to buy it. I want them to be enticed, to be, fascinated, to buy it, to love it, to want it. Well, what will that cause you to do? It'll cause you to become creative, to embody what you want them to do. If you want them enticed, well, then you'll have to have slick marketing, labeling, lights, flashing lights. Or, let me stop with Kanye. you know, so it will cause you to become more creative. Do you know what I mean? It causes you to act so that the effect you want happens. You've defined the effect. I want to have a product that people just can't even stay on the shelves. They just want it. Why do they want it? I want them to want it because they think that it's useful and it can help them throughout their day. And they just can't, I'm filling a niche because they can't live without it. And you begin to go through all of the reasons why, the effects. That's the reason, the effects that you want them to do, to experience when they get your product. So then you become more creative, which causes, hello, which is the cause of the product flying off the shelves because you define the effect. So this is how you practice cause and effect in your life. Damian Marley said it. He defined cause and effect in a very witty song lyric. He said, if you use cheddar as bait, you will attract rats. You see how cause and effect works there, but it also tells you rhythm. Rhythm compensates. You use cheddar as bait. Cheddar. So then you get rats. What did you expect you were gonna get? You see? This is how you apply these things and test yourself on a daily basis to see that you're getting it correct. And how do you know you're getting it correct? Because of the desired outcome. If you meet your objective, well, then were you right? According to you, yes, because you met the objective. So you test yourself. Test yourself. If you say, well, Angela, I'd like to be more kind. I'd like to be more kind. I don't have to like everybody, but I just want to be more kind. More gentle on myself and with my words and my actions. I would like that. Now you've defined it. Well, how do you test yourself? Get up and go out into the world is how you do it. You go out there and you're going to meet people. Oh, yes, you will. You'll meet some of every kind of people in the world. And when you meet them, sometimes you want to shake your head and go, whose child are you? Bless your heart. What is the world coming to? Sometimes you want to say that. Sometimes you do. But then you remember the effect. You say, you know what? I want to be kind. That's what I wanted to accomplish today. And so you say, I may not have a kind word, but you know what? I'm going to just smile and nod. Because at least if I smile and nod and my mouth is closed, I'm not cussing anybody out. Because sometimes that's what it's like. But at the end of the day, you test yourself to see if you can apply what you have understood. And if you say, well, I can't apply that, well, then which part can you not apply? And you go through it and you say, well, that one's kind of tricky. I'm not sure I get it. Maybe I'll try it like this. Always with the outcome in mind, because that's how you'll know that you've met your objective, that you've understood what you applied. Now, when you're doing that, do it with fun, hey? Well, learning is a fun thing, is it not? Well, it better be fun, because if learning isn't fun, ugh, who wants to learn? My word. Look at the design. We are designed to enjoy. That's why we have feelings. That's why we have the sensation of touch. Because we were designed to enjoy. Oh, yes. So you define what it is you want to enjoy. Learning. It should never be a chore, you know. And it helps us to laugh more, smile more. And you got to remember, when you laugh and you smile, it benefits you because it does something to your body. Chemically, it does something to your body. You know, endorphins and a whole host of other things that help you to relax in your body, right? A whole host of other things. So that's why you test yourself. This is why the exam exists, so that you can see what you have learned and come to know if you are applying it correctly. 9 minutes remaining. So don't be so hard on yourself, because we're all learning, are we not? There is a pleasure in learning. There is a joy in learning. Why? Because of the inevitable outcome of learning. Well, it is doing. And don't you want to do that? Don't you want to do that thing? So you learn it. Always with the knowledge that the outcome of learning is doing. You are applying. And my son, he's hilarious. Some days he's dancing on that one guitar string like his life depends upon it. And I'm like, listen, your life depends if on you getting off that last guitar string, child. You're driving your mother crazy. But he says to me, because I asked him, I said, did you eat all day? He goes, no, not yet. I said, why? What are you waiting for? He goes, Mom, sometimes it's just enough for me to know that I can cook. And I was like, that's it? Don't you want to eat? He's like, but I know that I can get up and go make something for myself. Lying sometimes enough to know that I can. And this is a proud mommy moment. I gotta brag. His rice is always to perfect, and he will only eat one rice. Don't tell him about anything. But I did ask him to make me some basmati, and he goes, "Okay, how much do you want?" Fluffy, hello. And I asked him. I said, "How come your rice turns out pricked every time?" He says, "Well, Mom, I just keep doing what I learned." I said, "What did you learn?" Because this is how you try and figure out what he knows. He says, "Well, Mom, 2 waters to 1 rice, and I will flavor it. I sprinkle a little garlic in there and some salt. And when it's done, I add butter." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's the point of the whole lesson here this morning. When you learn something, you have to test yourself to see if you can do it. You have to test yourself to see if you can do it. Or else, what would be the point? You see, cause and effect are always at play because you learn the effect is to do what you've learned, to practice. Cause and effect every time. So take your time as you learn. Take your time as you practice. 5 minutes remaining. Because you know what daddy says. You rush the brush, you waste the paint. Take your time. Why take your time? This is a learning process too, because sometimes I watch myself and I'm like, oh my God, I'm rushing. Slow your roll, girl, slow down. And I'm like, okay. Because when you slow down, you begin to sense and to feel much more than if you rush. Think about that. Practice taking your time. Practice taking your time. Well, how do I do that? Well, when you put that food in your mouth, chew it. Seriously, take your time and chew your food. Why? Because then you can taste the flavor and the way each thing passes over your tongue. This is the whole point. And you know it's liquor store night, right? Because it's work night. And so you can always tell the ones who don't care what it is they drink. But that's where I come in. I said, well, what do you feel like tonight? What's the mood tonight? Red or white? Hot, warming, or cooling? What's the mood? And I get them to tell me the mood that they want to create. And I say, well, fine, are you having it with dinner or you're just sipping it on its own? Why do I do it? Because I get to test myself. Have I learned anything? You know? And you test yourself. When you go to work, whether or not you like the job is irrelevant. Remove that from there. Don't judge the job. It's a job. The key is to test yourself in the job. How much more efficient can I become at doing this thing? Pretty soon you forget about how your boss might irritate you. Pretty soon you forget that. And then you begin to realize, oh my God, I did get more efficient at this. I've heard people say to me, you get so good at your job. And people see that and then they keep you in that spot. Nobody can keep you in a position. But you see, how would you know that if you do not practice seeing yourself being promoted? Oh, practice? But of course, learn your craft, hone your skill. This is how you develop your intuition as well. But how would you know that if you don't test yourself? 2 minutes remaining. So, whatever that thing is that you're dealing with today, look at it. And here's the test now, because you're going to bring all the principles, all the laws together, and you test yourself. Step one, where am I? What am I doing? And I don't like it. I want to change in this area. And you define it, because mentalism tells you define who you are. Become aware of who and what you are and what you're doing. And once you've done that, now step two emerges naturally. Because then you say, well, if I don't want to be doing that, what do I want to be doing? And you begin to see in your mind's eye what you would be doing in reality if you were no longer doing what you're doing in step one. So now that you can see it, you begin to rehearse it because there's one thing that you'd be doing. Just one. And that one thing that you're doing would prove to you that you had accomplished your goal. So you begin to rehearse it. No, remember, you're using gender now. You are taking the invisible and you are going to project it outward so that it is embodied so that you can do it. Thus, it becomes feminine. So, you see what you're doing? That thing that you are rehearsing, you're projecting it. That's why you're rehearsing it. And you will know when it's projected. You will know because it's a feeling that you'll get. A feeling of satisfaction. You know, you say, you know what? Here's what I'm practicing because I know the outcome of practice. The outcome of practice is doing. Yeah. And you are excited about the thing you are practicing that is invisible, that nobody else can quite see yet. And then what happens? Not all of a sudden. It didn't just come out of nowhere. You were rehearsing it. What's that one thing you'd be doing? You'd get up every morning and you know you accomplished it. How would you get up every morning? Yeah, that part. And so once you do that, step 3 unfolds naturally, which is the natural rehearsal of the thing and the knowing of the outcome of rehearsal. And so you get up and you rehearse every day. You spend 5 minutes because you know that as you rehearse and you make this thing your habit, your neurological pathway is setting itself down so that you will do it just like you tie your shoes over and over in the same fashion every single day. You will get up and you will do this thing. Even if you were blindfolded, you could still do it because it's your habit now. And you know what a habit does, right? A habit makes you efficient. And that's all you're training yourself to become is more efficient. So you do the habit, which is the thing you've been rehearsing. And then when you just do it instead of having to remind yourself, you say, oh, snap. I did accomplish it, didn't I? And that leads you right into step 4, living it. You see, we do not live for exams. We practice every day and we learn every day and we test ourselves every day. Every day. You don't wait for something to happen to say, oh, do I understand? No, you practice every day because it becomes your lifestyle. And with that, let us welcome everyone into the space. I went over about 2 minutes, but I'm all right. Let's welcome everyone into the space. I know there's somebody in these YouTube streets, but they just haven't said hello to me in the chat. Well, I beat you to the punch. Hello. Welcome to the space, and thank you for being here. Twitter. Hey, Solo Breezy's in the house. Solo, how's your grandma? Intuition is in the house. Well, hello, Intuition. Welcome to the space. Fanbase, who's here with us this morning? Oh, your girl has to scroll. Wow, you go, girl. Oracle Treehouse, I see you. Kishan, I see you. Big Mike is in the house. Miss McQueen, hello, darling. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Happy is in the house. Michael. I see you. Oh, my sweet KZ. And last but certainly not least is the dearest Ray Ray. Hey, Ray Ray. Listen, thank you all for being here this morning. And as you go through the day today, remember to do what now? Test yourself. Test yourself. See if you can apply what you've learned. I'm sure scripture said something about that. And here we are thinking scripture is nonsense. Nah, the law is in the scripture. The law is hidden in plain sight in the scripture, but we just don't see it. Test yourself. Yes. Just test yourself. And you realize that you will naturally become more gentle. Why? Because you're learning. And we don't learn through force. Oh, never that. We learn through what? I want to say enticement. Why enticement? Because does it not entice you to see what you can become? Does it not stir you up to see what you can become? Oh, wow. I know it does for me, but this thing that you want to become has got to move you. Yes? Anywho, the chickens are still asleep. They sure are still asleep. Thank goodness. And Biscuit, Biscuit is bigger than Lady and tries to get under because it's still a chick, right? But it's bigger than Lady. And he tries or she tries to crawl under Lady just like how he used to do when he was a little tiny chick. And I'm like, dude, you can't get back under there. There's no room. But they're still sleeping and they're so cute. A true test of one's patience, I say, to have chickens. But that's all right. And the more and more she bothers a little bit, I say, that's it. You're going back to the farm. Yeah. I'm just giving her a little bit more time. Let's get a little bigger. So anyway, those are my chicken chronicles. And I'll see you on the morrow. Oh yes, I'll see you on the morrow. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fanbase. Yes, I will master the art of TikTok. I just don't know what they want. I will be able to stream on there, I think tomorrow. I don't know. So we'll see. You know whose name I didn't call today? I didn't say Flo Smiles. Sugar Visions. I did not say her name today. But I know she's busy working. You don't make such beautiful creations as her without putting in the work. Mm-hmm. So I'll see you on the morrow. I'm gonna go get ready. Mm-hmm. I am. And listen, that soup came out so good last night because we went to the dentist, right? And Noah was like, Ma, can you make something that doesn't make my face hurt? I said, well, that's only soup. He goes, okay, what do you need me to do? I said, just soak the chicken in the lime and get it ready for me. He's like, okay, I can do that. And he says, Ma, don't put so much pumpkin in it this time, because then it turns out like a stew and not a soup. And I was like, oh, yes, sir, demanding. So the soup came out so good last night. Oh my word. You add a little bit of scotch bonnet. Ow. And it came out so good. So who's having soup for lunch? I am. Oh, yes. And who's having soup for dinner when I get home from work tonight? Oh, I am. So there you have it. Just practice what you're doing. Practice. And I said, I want to learn how to make roti. Now, depending on which part of the world you're from, roti means something completely different. Hmm? Yes. A Trini would make doubles. But I said, I want to learn how to make roti. So you know who I got to call now? My mom. Mm-hmm. Learn how to make the roti skins. And if you never had a roti, you don't know what you're missing. But I got to practice because I've never made it before. So I got to learn. And then I got to test myself. You see, we are always testing ourselves to see what we know. Man, I got to go. You guys, you get me so wrapped up in story time. But we're always testing ourselves. Remember that. I didn't learn how to make a beautiful loaf of bread overnight. Lord knows I haven't learned how to make a beautiful loaf of sourdough bread overnight. Sourdough. You have not defeated me. You cannot defeat me. That's what I said to my starter. Because sourdough is challenging to say the least. But I haven't given up on it. I just got to practice. I just have to practice. And I will master sourdough. You best believe that because it is so good. It tastes so good. But alas, it whoops me arse every now and then. So, you see, we're always practicing. Always. We cannot escape it. So take pleasure in the practice. Because you know what happens when you take pleasure in the practice? You'll take pleasure in the doing. Well, of course, isn't it? Rhythm compensates. The pleasure you feel in the doing is happening in the outcome. So if you're bitter and cantankerous as you learn, well, then you'll be bitter and cantankerous as you do. Anyway, let you girl. Oh, Liza. Hello, darling. I see you in these YouTube streets. So there was a reason I waited. Welcome, my beautiful Liza. Anywho, I love you, and I will see you on the morrow. Mwah. Peace out, everybody. Peace out. I know, I'm going. I was just reading the chat.